What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we need to take a look at what I think I can confidently claim is one of the biggest pieces of news we've had since the One Piece TCG came around. You ready? Simultaneous release is happening. This is something we've mentioned on this channel. This is something we have talked about as a possibility. About a month ago, I brought you a video about the upcoming starter decks 23 to 28, and I suggested in that video that a simultaneous release could be happening. I also told you that it was too early to say with any kind of certainty, that we needed to hold our horses, and that although it was a possibility, there was no proof that it was happening yet, and we all needed to be a little bit calm in our predictions. Well, we no longer need to take a minute or be calm in our predictions. It is happening, it is real, it is official, and I am personally in two minds about it, although I do recognize that yes, it probably is actually a good thing in the end. Now, the announcement was made during the Bandai One Piece Day in Dallas, a One Piece TCG celebration, and it says that all language versions will be released at the same time worldwide starting in 2026. They did not say when in 2026. This does not mean that the first set in 2026 will be released everywhere simultaneously. It could be that it takes until November or December for that to actually happen, and if that's the case, that's absolutely fine. But it is happening. It's not happening today. It's almost certainly a year away, because a year would be March 2026, and I rather think it's going to take a bit of time to get this rolling. But it is happening, and there are a lot of knock-on effects. One of the most obvious here, for me at least, this is Bandai. Bandai want simultaneous worldwide release. A while ago, they did it for the Digimon card game, and Gundam, for instance, which is coming out in July of this year. It's a game I'm very excited about. It's a game that I have talked about a lot on this channel, and frankly, I do intend to keep talking about a lot on this channel. That has also been confirmed to have a simultaneous worldwide release. There are other games, I think these two examples will do. Bandai used to have a situation where they didn't have simultaneous worldwide release. Indeed, for Digimon, we all sat around for a few months trying to figure out if we would ever get the Digimon TCG. I was at a haircut once, I was at the barber's getting my hair done, and then they dropped an announcement that it was actually coming in English, and that was a huge deal. Whereas with One Piece, we at least knew from the beginning that we were going to be getting it, but we would be getting it on a delay. So we've gone from we don't know if we're getting it, to we're getting it, but we're getting it on a delay, to all of the games are coming out simultaneously now, and I would expect that to be a Bandai thing moving forward. It's happening for One Piece, it's happening for Digimon, it's happening for Gundam. This is how Bandai want to operate, and it's not how every game operates. The Pokemon trading card game often has 1 or 2 months between English and Japanese sets. It doesn't take very long nowadays, but we still do see that gap. Pokemon has not gone for a simultaneous release, and frankly, there's nothing, and I follow Pokemon very closely on my other channel, PTCG Radio, there is nothing to suggest that Pokemon is going to be doing that anytime soon. Now, obviously, one thing that's very important here, we need to speed up, because we are not in line with Japan right now. That's not happening. Like, if we have a look at a couple of recent sets, take OP10 for instance. OP10, we don't have that set yet. It's coming. It's the next one to look forward to. It's literally coming this month, but we don't actually have that set yet. We are getting it on the 21st of March, but Japan got it back on the 30th of November. That's pretty much a 4-month gap. That is a 4-month gap between OP10 in Japan and OP10 over here. It's like 9 days off. I'm willing to forgive it. If we have a look at OP11, now remember, this is one of those ones where we don't actually have a proper release date in English yet, but we know the deal at this point, yeah? On the official website, it tells us June, but we've got distributor listing that says the 6th of June, so we can assume it's going to be the 6th of June. Not confirmed, not guaranteed, very, very likely. Whereas over in Japan, we do have a proper release date of the 1st of March. Now, that's only 3 months rather than 4, so the gap there is an argument here. It is closing a little bit, but that's still a significant gap. The other one we can look at, Extra Booster 02, the anime 25th collection, EB02. We don't have an official release date here, we just have it listed for May. But again, we can go to distributors and be told, although it's not guaranteed, 9th of May is very, very likely. Well, Japan got that on the 25th of January. So that's like 3.5 months. So we had a 4-month gap for OP10, 3.5 months for EB02, and just over 3 months for OP11. You could argue we can already see the gap closing here. Now, that might just be a bit of a coincidence with how the release dates fall, because there's so many factors that go into putting a release date. Or it could actually be Bandai already closing that gap and preparing for a simultaneous release. The point is, this is something that they have to do. They have to get us to the stage. Japan are fine. Japan can just kind of roll on like they're doing. We are likely to be speeding up. Yes, I know that Japan in theory could slow down, but if Japan slowed down, then that's more time where they're not selling products and not making money, and they are a profit-making business. It is far more likely that we will be speeding up to catch Japan rather than Japan slowing down to wait for us, because Japan slowing down to wait for us essentially costs them money, whereas speeding up, if done properly and managed well, and that is a big if, means that they will actually be making more money because there'll be more sets releasing. Yes, I know there are always issues around releasing too many sets too fast and essentially overwhelming consumers. That's something that Japan and Bandai are going to have to worry about. For now, this is where we are. Of course, we need to also look at some other countries here. Now, in France, they actually did a good thing, for this announcement at least. They started with us. France essentially just said, you know what, mate, let's just skip a bunch. We're not going to release the first bunch of sets. We are going to start now, which is good, because France trying to catch up from Romance Dawn would have been just a nightmare at this point. But over in Korea right now, they're just gearing up, pun intended, to OP05. Like that's where Korea are right now. They're rolling around with OP05. And we're leading into OP10. Now, if all languages are going to be catching up and being in the same place, then that means Korea is going to have to catch up and be in the same place. And Korea are miles behind right now. Miles behind. They're like a year behind. Because they've just had their first anniversary set, and we had OP09, the second anniversary set, not that long ago. So, yeah, that's going to be one of the big challenges. One of the big impacts we're going to have here, and if you play the game competitively, this is going to be kind of fun. There's not going to be a difference anymore. Because again, if we go back to OP10, OP10 came out in Japan, well, months ago, and we're about to get it. So there's no real question of, well, hang on a second, what's good in OP10? We know what's good in OP10. We know that Smoker is legit and did very well at a very big tournament over in Japan. We know that in terms of consistency, Usopp has been the best new leader from OP10. We know that Lim is not exactly the best leader ever, but all those new Odyssey cards that we got in OP10 make OP09 Lim viable now. Not the best deck in the format, let's be clear, but Lim is at least a viable deck now, in a way that it wasn't before. We know that Caesar Clown, it's not a very good deck. And we know all of this because Japan has had these for a while. And I know there are a lot of players that get frustrated about this, frankly. Because you don't get that joy of discovering the metagame, because you turn up to your locals on day one, and it's already been figured out by Japan. Whereas a simultaneous worldwide release puts everybody on the same footing, and away we go. As a side note, for me personally, I really enjoy the cards coming out in Japanese first. It gives me a chance to practice my Japanese language skills. One of the things I started doing early on when I was learning was learn to translate Japanese One Piece cards. It's a very, very small point in the grand scheme of things, but now that we've got this simultaneous release, I can still translate the Japanese cards, but they'll release the English card at the same time, and it will not be as much fun for me personally. But there is a more important point here, and that is magazine promos. If you check out this channel with any regularity, you will know that actually I love magazine promos. Magazine promos make me very, 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 very happy. But sometimes they're good, and sometimes it takes a long time for us to get them in English. Take the Buggy. This is probably the starkest example of this recently. We had the Buggy promo that was a magazine promo, which we now know we are getting as a pre-release promo. Yay! It is the OP10 pre-release promo. This is fantastic. It took a while to get there, but it's finally coming. The thing is, this card has been a big deal in Buggy decks. It has made Buggy decks a lot better, and I'm not saying every Buggy deck has played this, because they haven't, but I am saying that a lot of Buggy decks are significantly better because of the existence of this card. Well, Japan got it as a magazine promo pretty much when they got OP09, pretty much around the same time. We're not getting it until the OP10 pre-release, which gives us like an entire full set worth of tournaments where we've got Buggy, but we don't have this promo that Japan never had. So I'm wondering what's going on with magazine promos. Are they going to start releasing them closer together in Japan and the West? Are they going to keep doing what they've been doing and accept the fact that Japan is going to have a few extra promos that we don't have and we'll get them later? Could they stop doing magazine promos? I don't think that's realistic, just to be clear. I think magazine promos do such a good job of promoting games, and it's very much a thing over in Japan. Like, all the big card games do it, so I don't think it's realistic that they'll stop doing the magazine promos. But I am very interested to see whether we get them at the same time as Japan now and they rejig all of that, in which case there'll have to be a point we get a lot of promos in a short period of time, or whether they just accept the fact that we are actually going to be on the same level, but missing a few promos here and there. I don't know what the answer is, but either way, I'd like to know what you think. Are you excited about a simultaneous worldwide release? Are you worried that we're going to have a bunch of sets released too close together to catch up? What do you think about having the same format as Japan? What are your predictions about these promos? Go nuts in the comment section, but be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @LeWasi. That's where we talk about One Piece and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching WASI Plays.